Welcome to Rise of Kingdoms, a city building war strategy game, and if you are a new player looking to master your first kvk1, kvk2, and then go into kvk3 and beyond, well, this video is for you. My name is Lizard Jesus. I've been playing Rise of Kingdoms since the beginning of 2020, and I am bringing you my kvk1 guide as well as my beginner's guide. Everything that I tell you guys is from my personal experience in the game. I will never tell you to do something that I have not done myself. So, with that being said, we're going to get into it. This is your beginner's guide for kvk1 and more. Now, let's start off first by what civilization you're going to choose. This varies on 3 scenarios. Are you free to play? Are you a low spender? And then are you a medium spender? Are you free to play? If you are a complete free to play, I suggest you first grab China. The reason why is actually not for the commander, but it's for the construction speed. You're going to be doing lots of construction in the beginning of the game, and you want to get to City Hall 21. In the early game, you want to get to City Hall 21 as fast as possible. City Hall 25 can come, let's say you can push City Hall 25 at KV once you are about to reach kvk 3. But for kvk 1 and 2, you don't need to worry about being City Hall 25. I suggest you get to City Hall 22 as fast as possible, actually. Scratch what I said about City Hall 21. You want 22 as fast as possible. China is going to help with that. Now, let's say you are wanting to spend a bit of money. If you're spending money, you're going to be ahead of the game. I suggest Egypt. Egypt is going to be good for low spenders as well as medium spenders because you've got building and research speed bonus. So you're going to be able to kind of bang out 2 stones at once. However, the reason why I do not suggest this for free-to-play players is because research is very expensive. Research is very expensive, and it takes a long time. You're better off probably just pushing to City Hall 22 and then fielding with T4. Now, if you are a higher spender, you have some options. The first option is that you're actually going to want to be Korea. If you are a higher spender, you want to switch to Korea. So you can, like China, except with research, you can just speed through all of your research and get T5 as quick as possible. You are only selecting Korea if you are rushing T5. If you are a higher spender and you want to burn through as much research as possible, then you're going to switch to Korea. And then on top of that, you're going to have extra hospital capacity so you can fight longer. I suggest once you hit City Hall 21, you can switch from either China or Egypt and then switch over to Ottoman Empire, Vikings, France, Byzantium, Germany, and Greece. Those civilizations that I just mentioned are probably your best bet for endgame civilizations when it comes to just fighting, depending on your troop type. So now that we have gotten past the first stage of the video, which is selecting your civilization, now we're going to break into the second part, and that is the right investments to set your account up for successful kvk1, but also Season of Conquest. This is my alt account where I'm going into a kvk4. I migrated back to kvk4. So for kvk1, what I am suggesting new players to do is something a little bit different. I don't follow people. I go my own way. Now here's the thing. Rise of Kingdoms has changed a lot. The early game has just changed drastically. And the end game has just changed drastically as well. So for kvk1, what you're going to want to do for your first epic is actually go with Osman. You're going to want to go with Osman, not Sun Tzu. Not Sun Tzu. Between Sun Tzu and Osman, believe it or not, Osman is the investment that actually holds more value in Season of Conquest. And we're going to get in that to the end of the video. But for now, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to grab Osman. The reason why you're going to want to have Osman for kvk1 is for two reasons. The first reason is that Osman is just flat out amazing. He's super underrated, and in my opinion, he's actually one of probably the best epic commanders in the game, alongside Sun Tzu, Joan of Arc, and Imhotep. With Osman, him being a leadership commander, what he is bringing in his kit, it does not matter what troop type. Now, your second step is I am suggesting you to do the one of either two things. And I am suggesting players to invest into a legendary for kvk1, but only to 5111. What this means, if you are a new player and you do not understand what 5111 means, you only max the first skill, you take the rest to 111, and that is the legendary you use. For Osman, what you're going to want to do is grab your guy Yi-Song, and take him to 5111. Yeah, I did this for my kvk1, and let me tell you, if I ever go to kvk1 again, and if I ever restart, I will forever, till the end of time, always run this march. YSG is bringing a nice rage engine, even with the first skill. It's a nice rage engine that in the early game, you're going to notice it. It's really good. 5 target AoE, 1400 damage factor, 20% boosted skill damage. Osman needs that rage engine to pump out Sword of Osman as much as possible. Not to mention, he is bringing a pretty high single target for the early game, 10% extra troop capacity. It's good to go. You can build this kit around multiple troop types. It does not matter, but you can focus archer equipment like I have here. This is probably what you want for kvk1. For kvk1, if you can get the flame treads, that's really good. So you're running Osman with YSG. Really, really good. The second option you can do, and you do this if you want to invest into infantry once you reach Season of Conquest, or archers in the end game. So if you want to do archers in the end game, which I suggest that's actually good for free to play right now, archers are very strong, then you go Osman YSG. If you want to play infantry, then you're going to go Osman Charles and grab Charles 5111. So for kvk1, you're either going to run Osman YSG or Osman Charles Martel, depending on if you want to play infantry in Season of Conquest in kvk3 or if you want to play archers. So now that you have your kvk1 march, being Osman YSG or Osman Charles, we're going to be moving into kvk2. And before you run to the comments and talk about why Osman, well, aside from the fact that, I don't know, he's leadership, you can pair him with any troop type. The reason why you're going to be going with Osman is actually for much, much later in the Season of Conquest, and we'll get to that. So that's going to be the march for your first kvk1. Now we are approaching kvk2. What are you going to run for kvk2? Well, I'll tell you what you're not going to do for kvk2. You are not going to invest into Alex. You're not going to invest into Saladin. You're not going to invest into a Tamiris. Not for your first Archer March. For your very first Archer March, I do not recommend Tamiris. Not for your very first Archer March. What you are going to do for your kvk2 is actually run a Siege March, and that is Catherine de Medici and Narcisse. You're going to run Catherine primary, so you're just boosting skill damage and throwing your skill out more. It's just leave it at that. The skill tree is just better than the defense tree. The defense tree is good for, let's say, maybe a garrison, and I think the defense tree is actually not bad in rallies, but for the open field, defense is not great. So you're gonna run Catherine de Medici. Let's see if I can pronounce that name. Catherine de Medici. So you're gonna run Catherine de Medici for your kvk2, it's primary, Narcisse as your secondary. The reason why you're going to run this as your second march for kvk2, and then your first march will be Osman with either Charles or YSG. The reason why you run this for your second march is because you want to hoard onto as many gold heads as possible for kvk3. This introduction of 2 epics completely shifts kvk1 and kvk2. Now it is worth it to hoard sculptures from the get-go of the game. It is now worth it to hoard sculptures. It was worth it to hoard sculptures before. It was worth to hold sculptures before. But now that we have epics that are exclusive to kvk2, you can hoard sculptures but still make an investment in kvk2. And that's going to be Catherine de Medici and Narcisse. So you're going to run this as your second march and Osman as your first march. And trust me, 2 marches, if you have Osman expertise, YSG 5111 for kvk1 and 2, you're in a really good spot. You're in a really good spot if you have that on top of Catherine and Narcisse. It's super cheap. It's super cheap to build siege gear. Where's the siege gear? Hold on. There's some siege stuff around here. Yeah, it's super cheap to build siege stuff. They even have some this costs bone. First of all, this costs bone. This costs bone. Not to mention that on top of siege gear being really cheap, if you are a low spender in the early game, you can get a bundle where you can buy this. It's available from a bundle, I believe. Yeah, you can get the full set of this from the bundle, and it does have siege stats, so you can buy that without having to craft it early on, and then you can have then you'll have something to build your siege march off of. So for kvk2, you're gonna run Osman with either YSG if you're gonna go into archers, or Charles if you're gonna go to infantry, and then your second march will be Catherine with Narcisse. Acquiring these commanders, Osman and Charles are available from the gold keys, as well as Narcisse and Catherine in kvk2. YSG is a wheel commander that you get early on. Now, so you've got your kvk1 set up. You're going to run Osman with either YSG or Osman Charles, depending on which troop type you want to play in the end game. For kvk2, you're going to run just Catherine and Narcisse. And, just trust me, I'm calling it right now. That's going to be the play. If you want to hoard sculpts and you want to dump sculpts into kvk3 and SLC commanders, just run your purple siege march. It's going to be good. It's going to be good because every other siege march in kvk2 is going to be on the exact same playing field. Everyone else in kvk2 will only be able to run Catherine and Narcisse. So you're going to be able to get good kills with it. So that's going to be your 2 march setup for kvk2. Now, you are approaching kvk3. This video has been uploaded in December of 2024. There is a high chance that by the time you watch this video, there is something called commander swap. What you're going to do for kvk3, once you reach kvk3, the first thing that I'm going to teach you is the infantry route. Let's say you want to go down the infantry route. So, you have a 5111 Charles, right? You have that. Okay, that's awesome. What you're going to do is you're going to dump all of your sculptures that you've been saving up. If you want to go infantry, you're going to dump all of the sculptures you've been saving up into this guy right here, Ragnar Lodbrok. Ragnar Prime. Please make sure it's this Ragnar and not this Ragnar. Ragnar Prime. You're going to dump all of your infantry sculpts into this guy. I'm not saying you have to expertise this guy for kvk3. I'm just saying the right call to do is dump all of your gold heads that you've been hoarding into this guy right here. You're going to do that. Grab Charles Relic. You're going to grab the Charles Relic. My advice with the Charles Martel Relic is do not take Charles Martel past the first tier. If you want to take him to the second tier, if you are spending, that's fine, but the third tier is just way too expensive. There's going to be much better relics down the road. Just hold on to your relic currency, but grabbing the first tier for Charles for your first kvk3 and your first kvk4 is going to be a good starting point. You're going to be getting an extra 25% attack, a decent bit of an extra health on top of the health that Charles is already providing. And then you're going to run your Charles Martel behind your Ragnar Prime is what you're going to want to do for your kvk3. and 4. Your kvk3 march is what you're going to use in kvk4 as well, because you got to have one strong march for that. Now let's say you're going down the Archer route where you went with Osman and YSG for kvk1. Well, this you're going to grab YSG's relic. YSG's relic, I recommend you take to the 3rd tier. It's just good. It's really good. You're going to be getting a solid amount of defense, a nice boost of skill damage on top of his 20% boosted skill damage. But who do you pair YSG with as a secondary? Who's the primary to YSG for your first kvk3 and your first kvk4? Well, it's a very, very simple answer. And with the current Archer meta, you're going to want to grab Herman Prime. Yes, you're going to want to grab Herman Prime. This is a double AoE. YSG is bringing lots of boosted skill damage. Herman Prime is going to throw out his poison, and for each target that has poison, you're going to be dealing even more skill damage on top of YSG's solid skill damage boost. 20% attack, 20% defense, but the most important reason as to why you're going with Herman Prime over ZL is 15% march speed. AoE skill damage. So you take Herman to 5-5-5-1, that's going to be your base point. You're going to have 5-5-5-1 with a 5-1-1-1 triple relic YSG. You have a double AoE march, lots of AoE skill damage bonus, lots of actual skill damage bonus, good stats. YSG's triple relic along with Herman's second skill is bringing you a total of 40% defense, 20% attack, 15% march speed. That's really good, and that's going to be your base point for kvk3 if you go archers. Now, remember something, and that's you still have a siege march. Remember, you still have a siege march, right, from kvk2? You've been following along. So for kvk3, you're going to run your Herman YSG or Ragnar Charles. You're going to run for kvk3 Herman YSG, Catherine Narcisse, or Ragnar with Charles and Catherine Narcisse. That's going to be your kvk3 march. And kvk4, you can graduate your YSG. I think by the time you take Herman to 5-5-5-1, you should leave Herman there, honestly. And then you can graduate your YSG and grab ZL. This is going to be the second Archer commander you work on. Yes, if you are going the Archer route, Herman is your top priority. ZL you're going to grab after. You want Herman first. You really want to grab Herman first. He's bringing the march speed. He's bringing lots of tankiness while he's bringing extra skill damage bonus. And he's going to be able to move around the field better. Grab Herman first and then ZL after. Now, infantry. We're approaching kvk4. kvk3 is over now. Now this is kvk4. There's crystal tech. There's endgame materials. It's stuff's starting to cook. So for kvk3, if you went infantry, you're going to be running Ragnar Prime with Charles Martel for kvk3, and you can run it for kvk4. But by the time you reach kvk4, you want to sort of begin working on new projects. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go with Ragnar Scipio. Where's our boy Scipio? Where is Scipio? Did I not have Scipio on this account? Okay, well I don't have Scipio on this account. But you can go Ragnar with Scipi Prime. Scipi Prime as your first infantry kvk4 march. Where is Scipio Prime? I have to show you Scipio Prime. This guy. I think this guy as a secondary is better, even though I know I just said that Herman primary is better because of the support tree. But with the amount of skill damage that Ragnar Prime is doing at his expertise, you just want the skill tree so you can throw out your active skill more and get as much damage from his expertise. So we're going to do a recap of the video because we're approaching the end for your kvk1 and more. kvk1, go with Osman YSG, Charles Martel if you want to go infantry, but I suggest Osman YSG. kvk2, you're going to continue Osman YSG or Osman Charles, and then you're going to grab Catherine de Medici with Narcisse. kvk3 now. If you went archers, if you went with Osman YSG, now you're going to go with Herman YSG. If you went infantry, you're going to go Ragnar Prime, this guy, with Charles Martel. Alright, now, before we end the video, I gotta talk about the investment that Osman has in the late game. So, once you're in your 4th KVK and your 5th KVK, once you're 4th KVK, you don't really have to worry about it too much. Not anymore, now that they changed it so that kvk4, you're only playing against other kingdoms in kvk4, so that's really good. kvk5 comes, this is where Osman's investment is going to pay off. And there's something called the Siege of Orleans KVK, which I can't find it right now, but whatever. In the Siege of Orleans KVK, if you have one march, and that is your Ragnar Charles, Ragnar Skippy, or your Herman YSG or Herman ZL, this is going to be a skill that you want to have. You want to have this skill in your Siege of Orleans KVK. Now you might be thinking, well, hold on a second, why don't I just expertise this commander, and then I can do Sun Tzu for kvk1 and then have Sun Tzu and Ragnar? Well, the reason being is that you don't want to be investing into like these commands. You don't want to invest into a peacekeeping commander in the early game. Even the garrison. The reason why I think Osman is the better investment is because once you reach kvk3, Sun Tzu garrison is darn right. You're not getting any value from the garrison. Osman's kit, you will always get value out of. You can rally cities, you can get the counterattack damage, you got the skill tree, leadership tree, and in Siege of Orleans, you'll have this solid skill. Osman is the one epic commander that you can use for hitting cities. You can use him in kvk 1, 2, and 3. And when I expertised Osman and I used him for kvk 1, it changed my outlook. This is the best commander for kvk 1. You can use him with any troop. And you're setting yourself up for a commander that works with a lot of pairings. For example, if you did want to run an epic, you could do Ragnar Osman. Ragnar Osman will work. Herman Osman will work. Joan Prime and Osman will work. So this is my guide for kvk1 and more. If you guys liked it, make sure you comment down below. This has been Lizard Jesus, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace. Oh yeah, and by the way, before I end the video, I'm gonna have a lot of content coming out this December as well as the new year. I'm entering a first kvk4 on my alt account. I am also about to enter kvk2. I'm about to enter a kvk2 on my sleeper account, on one of my sock sleepers, where I migrated back in time, bringing endgame commanders after logging off for a long time. On top of that, I am also entering a new Season of Conquest story, Tides of War, pretty soon here. So there's going to be lots of kvk content.